I don't really have, at this point in my life, apolitical friendships.
Mm.
And some might say that that is impoverishing, but I don't think it is. I think it's deeply enriching, actually. Yeah, I was trying to think. I have people who I talk about politics more than others, but I don't have deep friends or even friends who maybe secretly think Trump is great.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't have. There are people who think you should have that, and I'm not one of them.
I don't know. I think that it's not so much with my friends because obviously you choose your friends, but the relationships I don't choose pull me into proximity with people who
Yes.
think very, very differently from me.
Well, yeah, of course I have that.
Mm.
I have that, but they're not people who I would call comrade at all or even friend. I don't really have, at this point in my life, apolitical friendships.
Good morning and welcome again to Let It Be Known News, the Friday edition. I'm your host, Stacy Brown. This is the morning show for Black Press USA.
Peace and love. I'm Niele, your co-host. Good morning, Stacy, and Let It Be Known family. We're going to uplift some headlines this morning. It's Feel Good Friday, so we're going to have some engaging conversation for you, just like the one you just saw.
It's Feel Good Friday. What are you feeling good about? Only because it's Friday, right?
Pretty much. It's been a long week, busy week. And then
Well,
the cherry on top is the drama from Trump. So, it's heavy week.
it is still Happy Swag Hoodie Day, and today Orange is rocking Arkansas Pine Bluff. And of course, he comes with a couple of candidates for the black card, which is Candace Owens, a perennial. Does she even have a black card? And Jason Whitlock, also David Youngblood said this morning, Jason Whitlock needs to lose his black card. I'm under the impression that they both have already lost their black card, but nonetheless, that's
Yeah.
where we're. That's
I
where
mean,
we.
I think Greer picked that clip just for you, Stacy.
Listen. I don't have any political friends either, so I'm with him on that. Listen,
Well,
have fun with that.
I have political friends. I think it's always good to be able to have people that you can call, and maybe get some information from, or maybe get a proclamation for somebody in the community, or,
Mm.
we might be working on some community projects and you need some support from a lawmaker. So yeah, I think political friends are good.
Yeah, he said political friendships.
Some might
Um,
say that that is impoverishing, but I don't really have, at this point in my life, apolitical friendships.
Mm.
And some might say that that is impoverishing, but I don't think it is. I think it's deeply enriching, actually. Yeah, I was trying
okay,
to think.
he,
I don't have.
okay. So he is
I have
saying
people.
apolitical. So people who are apolitical. That's what he's
Okay.
saying. So nonetheless,
Right.
um, big fish to fry.
Well, first, before
Yes.
that, it's Friday. We got to get into the pop quiz.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's do that. This black tobacco farmer would revolutionize medicine from the development of the polio vaccine, cancer research, AIDS treatment, in vitro fertilization, gene mapping, and even COVID. This black tobacco farmer would revolutionize medicine from the development of the polio vaccine, cancer research, AIDS treatment, in vitro fertilization, gene mapping, and even COVID. Who is that? Folks, put the answer in the chat.
I'm going to learn
Yeah.
today.
You gonna learn?
Yeah, I can't
Um,
wait for the chat to teach me.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and what was said, notice it's giving us the definition of apolitical, which is not interested or involved in politics. I always say I cover it. Now, David gave us an immediate response to the pop question, to the black pop question. David Youngblood is saying Henrietta lacks.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay, is that all right with you?
I don't think I'm gonna go with that one, but I'm waiting for some more options.
Okay,
I'm
so
not saying that's not the
right,
answer, but I
right,
need
right.
some more
Give
options.
Niele some more options, y'all. David has come out swinging. Remember yesterday, David, it seemed like before we got the question out of our mouth, he had the answer. So, um, so maybe, you just never know. Maybe David is on to something, Niele. You never know. So,
Hey, I believe it. I believe it.
um, so the news coming out yesterday on the SAVE Act. We've talked about the SAVE Act on this program in the past, but so here we are halfway there, and the SAVE Act is now through the House.
Mhm.
And this is just a continuation that since the Voting Rights Act of 1965, Republicans have worked relentlessly to chip away at protections for voters, particularly Black Americans and other people of color, and of course, women. Those
Mhm.
efforts reached a fever pitch after Barack Obama's historic victories, which sparked what we can conclude was the modern white supremacist movement and reignited GOP efforts to suppress the vote. Now, with Trump at his return to the White House and Republicans emboldened by a far right agenda, they have passed this aggressive voter suppression bill, um, and it's the SAVE Act. And of course, this idea of not immigrants, but non citizens voting is preposterous. It's been proven over and over again. It just doesn't happen. Um, this will require in person documentary proof of citizenship to register to vote. It's going to disenfranchise millions of eligible voters, especially women and people of color, because they want women who have gotten married. If you haven't changed your name, they're telling you can't vote.
Mhm.
If your name has, or if your name has changed and you haven't changed it on your birth certificate or whatever, you can't vote. So if you're, Neil Anderson and you decide to marry, John Long, and you
Mhm.
have Neil Long on your, thing, and don't have any identification for Neil Long, you're
Mhm.
done. You're cooked.
Yeah. I mean, they thought of everything when they were preparing Project 2025. Any way to narrow it down to white folks.
Any
White men particularly. That's what they're doing. So this is not a surprise. It's just astonishing how
It is
they're
astonishing.
able to, roll back so much. Roll back so many strides that people of color, even white folks that were allies, to make a even platform for people of color as much as possible. The way
Mhm.
they are able to just take us back to Jim Crow and we're still scrolling on our phones is, like I said, it's astonishing. It's surprising. It's amazing.
Well, and here's the other thing that's maybe not surprising for many anymore, but 4 Democrats supported this. They
Were they
can't
white?
even
Were
and
they white? Were they white?
yeah, so it's Jared Golden, Marie Glusenkamp, Perez, Henry
Hmm.
Quella, however you say his name, and Ed Case. They all broke ranks, and this is another thing that the Democrats have a problem with. They have too many insurrectionists within their party. They got too many insurrectionists, and it's just never you can never tell. And so, in order for this to pass the Senate, where they have a 50, was it 53-47 vote uh, differential there, they need 60 votes. So they need what, 7 Democrats to join them or something like that, 7 or more. So don't bet against it. Is all I'm saying. Don't bet against it. It's
It is, for a Friday,
It's
can we
no
just do a
allies. It's no allies.
good?
I'm telling. It's no allies.
I mean, they're allies. It's just not enough. White folks gonna
Not in the
always
right
do what
places.
white folks. So white folks gonna always do what white folks do.
White folks
Even
don't white
even
folk.
some of the allies, and that's the problem. Like some of the allies aren't
White folks
really
don't white folk.
allies. They don't white folk. Okay. They
No,
go,
but that's it.
and it was probably self-interest, right? We know a lot of times when those lawmakers are, in their offices making deals, a lot of the reasons why they vote certain ways, it's sad to say, but it's for self-interest, personal interest.
It
Maybe they
is.
got some stock, from that
Oh, you
BS
can best
stuff,
believe.
Trump,
Yes.
and
Something went down,
so
right?
something we need to do some research on those four lawmakers to see exactly why they decided to vote with the Republicans, because somewhere down the line is some self-interest stuff going down there.
Oh,
And I'm
and this proves it. This particular piece of legislation, it proves it. Come on.
Yeah.
This has been a hot button issue for your constituents and for your party, and you went against it? You went with those folks? Come
Mhm.
on.
We're gonna have to reach out to Glenda Carr from over at Higher Heights, the founder and CEO. I see that she's the one that put out this information that Greer has on the screen, because it's just, when you think of organizations like Higher Heights and you think of like Emily's List. I think Ashanti, black woman, is over there. I think no, it's not Emily's List. It's Emerge, over at Emerge. LaFonza Butler used to run Emily's List before she became senator.
Mhm.
But when you think of, all of the strides that these women-led organizations do to not just, protect the vote, but also to put women in power, to have a more diverse look at what government looks like in this country. And once again, white men, even to their white women, are finding a way to disenfranchise and stop. They don't want women in power, and they don't want black folks in power, and people of color. But I can only speak for my skin tone. So,
Nancy Wall brings up a fantastic point. She says she agrees with me, but she says you don't see the black Republicans flip for the Democrats.
no, because they want to be down with
I want to be down.
Trump.
Go ahead, Brandy. Sing it, Brandy. I want to be
They wanna
down.
be
Is that Monica or
down with
Brandy? Which one?
Trump. But I think there was once a time when you could find that. You know what I'm saying? You could find an ally across the aisle. Like the time that we're living in
On both
now,
sides.
yeah, across the aisle. But we're living in a time now to where we're over here and they're over there, and there's just no in between. Which really, the in between is the American people, right? The American people are the middle, and we expect our lawmakers to find a way to do what's best for what's happening in the middle, which is the working class people of this country, which is the disenfranchised people of this country. And they're just over here getting richer, and the Democrats are trying to figure it out. Did Hakeem Jeffries get his debate with Mike Johnson?
No, not yet. Not yet. Who cares about that? But let me
I don't
actually
even think Mike Johnson responded.
okay, let me get under your skin here. Shonda H says white women vote against their best interests a lot of times, so she can't put it all on white women. You agree with that, right?
Mhm.
Okay, but Shonda H also says black women vote against their best interests a lot of times, so I can't put this on white men.
I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one.
You're not gonna give us the whole 92% spill?
Hey, we're resting. Some things we're not even going to engage in. We pick and choose. I just don't know if I agree with that. And I can leave it there because I'm not going to argue with my sister. I'm just saying, I don't know about that one.
Well, and response to this whole SAVE Act, to Orangey points out a good point, and we've talked about this before. For folks who wish to vote, they need to start now checking their voter registration and make changes as necessary. They need not wait. So Mike Johnson and the governor of Louisiana said voter suppression was their goal. Yeah. Well, yeah. They put, like you said, not only did Mike Johnson and the Louisiana governor say that, but it was right there in Project 2025.
Mhm.
So, and
Yeah,
that's
it's their
everything
plan.
that they've done has followed Project 2025. There's no question about it. Um, I am going to mention this since we're on this, but Governor Gretchen uh, was in the White House yesterday,
Hmm.
and taking photos with Trump, and even saying that she agreed with him on some things, which really drew the ire of many people. And it's a bad look, without question, but it also once again lays bare the privilege of it all. Folks are
Yeah.
not going to give up. They may relinquish a little piece of their privilege if you can do that, but they're not giving it all up. So
Mhm.
um w- it
White
goes
folks know
back
white
to,
folks.
there you go. There you go. There you go. So anyway, just
I
had to
mean, and
mention that.
I'm not mad at her for agreeing with some of the things that Trump does, because a broke clock is right twice a day. I mean, that's just the reality of it all. So, but at the same time, like, self-interest is self-preservation to most folks, and she probably has ambitions, outside of being the governor of Michigan.
She's running. She's running for president, or wants to run for president, I should
Yeah,
say.
so she has to do what she has to do to, and that's one way to look like, to get to the middle for
Is
some.
there, yeah, but is there something that you think about yourself? Is something that you might or have in your lifetime wanted something, but said, "There's no way that I'm doing that to get it."
Oh yeah, especially
Right.
now. Yeah, like putting your body all out on social media. Because
Uh-oh. Look out.
the more conservative you are, the less likes you get. But the more provocative and sexy you get, the more likes you get. And so I think a lot of people, so yes, to your point, yeah. I haven't went that far yet.
So yesterday, that's interesting. So yesterday, last night I was in Villanova, right, in
Mhm.
Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania. And it's so interesting because Villanova is this great big university, mostly white,
Mhm.
um, lots of privilege over there, big time money over there. The houses are gigantic, and so there's this bar called, what is the name of that bar? The something fog or whatever, the fog or something, right?
Mhm.
And the college kids, they love their alcohol. They're in bars all the time and whatever. And, this lily white area, but across
Mhm.
the street, right across the street, 7, 8 steps for me to get across the street, was this, other bar, but it had hookah in it, right? And it was like 8 black folks in there, right?
Mhm.
And it was all black folks in there. It was like 8 or 10 people in total, and they're doing their hookah. And on the screens, Niele, it was these huge screens. They had about 7 or 8 huge screens. They had music videos on. It was uh Sexy Red. It was,
Mhm.
while I'm waiting for my order, I had ordered some wings, and because the bar, the kitchen was closed. So
Okay.
so I had to go. That was the only closest thing I walked. It was raining, it was cold, so I went across the street because they said they have food there. So I said I'll get it to go because I can't stand the smell of anybody's smoke. And it's like butt out, at breast out, everything out.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, wow, what happened to just making some good music? It's not about making good music anymore. It's just about selling. And like you said, there are some things you wouldn't do. There's things I wouldn't do.
Right,
So,
right.
anyway,
I hope I don't post no picture now. Be like, she said she was.
oh gosh. So,
um,
House
Mo-
Republicans
mhm.
approved the budget blueprint that, of course, slashes vital programs like Medicaid and child nutrition assistance to help fund an extension of Trump's 2017 tax law. And according to the new congressional estimate, it's going to cost about $5.5 trillion over the next decade when you factor in interest. And the plan, of course, means that they are going to gut some Medicaid. They're going to gut SNAP, among other things. So there you have it.
Yeah, yeah, it's rolling. It's the Trump train, the Trump clan. They are steaming through, and probably by summer, probably by Juneteenth, I think that
Mm.
a lot of folks that will have had enough because it will have impacted them, and by Christmas, you know, it's gonna be off the chain.
Yeah, yeah. It's already off the chain. Imagine just give it a couple more months. Oh my
Right.
gosh.
But I'm speaking to the impact of like people actually feeling it. I think a lot of people are just right now just bombarded with the messaging and everything that we hear about the Trump, clan is doing. Outside of like the federal workers, I think that was the most directed impact that people could actually feel as individuals. A lot of these other things that are happening to state funding and things, it just quite hasn't trickled down yet because of course a lot of the progressive states are going to find ways to subsidize what the federal government is doing. Southern states, they're probably going to feel it first because them people down south don't give a hoot. And so I think, like I say, as it continues to trickle down to us, that is when people are going to start responding. Mhm.
Well, yeah, this stuff is like you said, it's
But
frightening.
then you have
Uh,
governors like Newsom and over in Michigan, Gretchen. They're dancing with the devil. So I mean, you just,
you ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
you know.
I've always asked that of all my prey. That is from Batman, the first Batman. Uh, D.L. Hughley is calling out fellow comedian Bill Maher for his recent visit to the White House, his affiliation with Donald Trump, and pushing an anti woke narrative. And let's just say he's not holding back. D.L. Hughley expressed a lot of disdain over Bill Maher's. He called him a transactional. Well, he said the president is a transactional man and that he's going to get something out of Bill Maher being there. He added that Bill Maher and the current administration have a lot in common, especially when it comes to how they view the term woke. He went on to say that while he isn't necessarily mad at Bill Maher, that he went to the White House, I should say, he definitely feels as if he said some terribly offensive things that don't sound too different than what Trump has said before. And he also stressed that it's easy for a single rich white man with no children to be neutral on issues, especially the quote woke ones, because they're not the ones being affected by all of Trump's tactics. I think
Mm.
D.L. Hughley is 1000% correct.
I think you said it earlier, white privilege. We just heard the term again. We're going to hear it a little later in the show. I mean, so for every one of their wokes, we have a white privilege. For every
Mm.
time they say we woke, we say it's your white privilege. And I agree with DL Hughley as well. I've never really been a big fan of Bill Maher because I don't like the way he mocks God. I don't like
Mm.
his approach to faith, one's faith and one's belief system. And so I'm with DL Hughley. For every one of his wokes, call out his privilege.
Dr. Joni says Bill Maher has turned into garbage. Um, and Dr. Marilyn says true talent is underrated these days. And yep, what was said says Jack Nicholson as the Joker. That movie had epic lines like "This town needs an enema," and this whole country right now could use one.
Really.
Oh God! So we have a guest. Is our guest has our guest arrived? No, not yet. Okay. Um, well, so then we can go back to, y'all saw briefly a picture flash on screen with a woman in handcuffs. And this woman is diabolical. She is as diabolical as they come. She was a former Pennsylvania judge, and she shot a boyfriend. She, but it gets
Wait,
worse.
what did he do? My question is, what did he do?
Okay, let's get into it because she's facing 60 years in prison, by the way. She was convicted. She shot him in the head as he slept. She was attempted of attempted homicide and aggravated assault. Her name is Sonia McKnight. And so she's going to be sentenced next month. The shooting occurred back in February of 2024 at the home of Michael McCoy, her ex-boyfriend. He had lived there, but McCoy repeatedly asked her to leave when their relationship ended. She refused to leave. And he testified that the last thing he heard McKnight say to him before the shooting was, "Oh, so you're serious?" And then she blew him away. She didn't like that. But here's the thing. This is why I say this is a diabolical woman. So the boyfriend before that, she she also shot.
What?
And
What type of judge is she?
The husband before that was also killed, and it is believed, because I think she claimed self-defense even in that. He was shot, and she claimed, but prosecutors decided not to charge her in that either. So there's allegedly at least 3 shootings of partners of this judge. She allegedly shot 3 partners,
What type of
including the
judge is
ex-husband.
she? What type of judge is she?
She's a magistrate judge, so everything comes before her. She does not. Magistrates in Pennsylvania rarely sit on trials.
Okay.
They generally they're the first step when in Pennsylvania. But my gosh, she's only been on the bench since 2016.
I mean, talk about the definition of a woman scorn. Don't scorn her, because she will shoot you, kill you,
Oh, girl,
slice
just
you, dice
right.
you.
She was those old Western women with, quick on the draw. I mean, gosh. She was a straight public hazard, is what one of our viewers, Nagon 11, says. He called her a public hazard. Wow.
My
But
gosh.
Pennsylvania has some issues.
Mhm.
Judges, they've corruption and stuff like this in Pennsylvania is not new. I mean,
Mhm.
one of the worst cases we've seen in recent years was the Kids for Cash thing out there in near Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Those judges sending these kids to prison to make money.
Mhm.
Pennsylvania is horrible. You know what they do in Pennsylvania too? So I mentioned the magistrate. The magistrate, when you are faced with any type of criminal charges, it is the police officer who acts as the district attorney when you are first arrested.
Mhm. Mm. Mm.
So diabolical is right. All rise. Austin says, all rise for a judge, killer, or die. Okay, let's get a tease on our pop quiz. We need a tease. Because we only got one. A couple people put their answers in already.
Yeah, that was a deep question. I need to see it again. Henrietta Lacks. I remember that one.
Yeah. So what's the tease? Come on now. You tease the tease. Now you got to tease. Here we go. Okay, this is the question. This black tobacco farmer would revolutionize medicine from the development of the polio vaccine, cancer research, AIDS treatment, in vitro fertilization, gene mapping, and even COVID. Now, what's the tease? I thought we was getting a tease. I guess we're not getting a tease right now. But Henrietta Lacks, it sounded like
Yeah,
it's not. It's not.
it's
I don't
not. It's
think it
not.
is,
It's
though.
not. I mean, after I read it again for the second time, I might agree with that. Maybe.
Mm, I'm not I mean, it sounds like Henrietta Lacks, but what's throwing me off, I don't think, and I'm not Googling y'all. Y'all doing that cheating stuff. Um, but
Don't
what's throwing me
bust
off, I
them
don't think
out.
yeah, I'm busting them out. I'm not like you. We not like us. What's throwing me off is this black tobacco farmer. I don't remember that she was a tobacco farmer.
I don't remember that either, but a lot of the medical terms and treatments that were identified in the quiz sounds like something that her genes were able to help. So I don't know.
Yeah, I was great. It's so funny. I was about to call you out, Dr. Joni. Dr. Joni's asking, was she a tobacco farmer? And apparently yes. And that might be throwing. I don't know if it's throwing Dr. Joni off too. And where are my doctors? Dr. Marilyn says it is Henrietta Lacks. Where's Dr. Nicole? See, we got women. We got the women with the doctors in front of their names on this. And then of course there's Dr. Austin. I know Austin got some sort of PhD or medical degree in something.
Mm.
Got to be. He's got to be a Dr. Austin. He's not an ordinary man. So anyway.
Okay, so
But
right now we only
Henrietta
have
Lacks.
relax. Okay,
Okay.
that's what we're saying. I'm kind of
See, she's saying
I'm being
too. That's what's
swayed,
throwing her off.
but I'm being
Dr.
swayed.
Joni.
I
Yeah.
remember that. I remember the movie with that Oprah Winfrey did, and I do remember her being in rural America. I kind of remember some farmland and some of the things. So I don't know. I don't know.
Mm.
Mm.
Austin said he is Reverend Dr. Austin Cooper, by the way. So there you have it. I knew there was a doctor in there somewhere. I knew it. I knew it.
Well, I
Anyway,
want, but we can jump into some morning quickies if we want right
yes,
now.
let's do it.
All right. So Caitlin Clark, she is now saying Black women of the WNBA deserve all the credit. Now she used to be silent on this, and it was more Paige Beckers that would ride for Black women. Not say Caitlin didn't, but she was just didn't say nothing. But now she's telling David Letterman and acknowledging her white privilege while honoring Black women. And so, if you want to see more of this interview with David Letterman, it's airing on his next edition of what's of his show on Netflix. I'm glad Caitlin is saying that because she allowed herself to be the victim and allowed Angel Reese to be the villain for so long, right? Especially with this whole situation when she was the one that did it first, and Angel Reese, in the heat of competition in the game, responded, but Angel Reese caught all the flack and she stayed America's darling. And so for her to say this now, I think it's pretty important or at least noteworthy that she's acknowledging her privilege of it all.
And Mike B is going. He's doing the whole reversal thing. He says that she loses her white card and gets an invite to the barbecue on Juneteenth. That's
Okay.
interesting. That is.
I agree. I agree with that because she was staying in her victim privilege mode.
She really
And just
was.
letting the
I'm with you on
conversation
that.
happen all around her. So for her to say this, I think is pretty significant. But you have to give the credit to Paige Beckers because she said it first. And I
Right.
think
Paige is
because
all that.
she is
Paige
all
is
of
all that.
that. But I think it's too because she's had a taste of Black experience because her stepmom is Black. She has a Black brother. And
Oh,
so
I didn't know that.
yeah, she
Paige?
does. Paige. She
Oh, that
has a
explains the
half
40
Black.
points.
Yeah, she has a half Black brother.
That
Um,
explains the whole performance in March Madness. Why she
her
dominated.
so she understands, but when she was at the ESPY Awards, when she received that award, she gave all the flowers instead of accepting it for the work that she's done and that she
Can't this
deserved
morning.
it. She gave the
Mike,
flowers to Black women.
I can't with Mike V this morning. He goes only a matter of time before it comes out that her man is Black. Y'all, Mike going all in this morning. Uh,
Who are you talking about? Caitlin Clark? Oh, Caitlin Clark has a
no,
Black boyfriend.
no. I think he's talking about our girl
Paige.
Paige.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
or
that
maybe
wouldn't
he's
be
talking about Caitlyn.
surprising.
I can't see. No, Caitlyn ain't with no Black. Caitlyn's not.
So yeah, so you can check that out on David Letterman's nighttime show on Netflix.
Does he wear the
Uh,
beard?
yeah, he still
Still
has
have the
the
beard? Okay.
he still
He
has the
looks
beard.
strange. There, a lot of people improve their looks, I think, with the beard, but David Letterman is not one of them.
He just looks rich and like he doesn't care.
He don't care about nothing, right? And he dresses that way too. I like that about him, though. The fact that he dresses like he don't care about. He doesn't have one care in the world. Naturally, of course, folks are gonna on this program. They're gonna, oh, it's the privilege part. But I just enjoy somebody who's enjoying. Like Dave Chappelle walks around like he doesn't have a care in the world either. So I enjoy that.
Yeah. So remember, for every time they call us woke, we gonna call they white privilege. That is the call and response.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
moving on, here's another interesting statistic that I found. Stacy and Let It Be Known family, did you know
Did you know?
70% of the global population does not rely on toilet paper? They don't
That's
use toilet paper.
nasty.
Instead, using water-based methods for
Ah,
personal
Lord, for
hygiene.
days.
And these practices are especially in Asia, the Middle East, and parts of Africa. So I
See,
know when I've gone to like the Caribbean islands sometimes and stuff, or even when I went to Thailand, they wanted you to put they had toilet paper, but you couldn't flush it. You couldn't flush it. So I've been to some places where they don't allow you to put the toilet paper in the commode. They want you to put it in the trash can, and
oh God.
the water pressure is really low. But I've never been on vacation and I didn't have no toilet paper.
Oh God. Oh, Annie, move on.
But I think that it's important for us to people live different ways, and a lot of things we take for granted. Example, toilet paper. You know,
Well,
something so
when I went
basic
to
and common.
Africa, when I went to Africa in 2019, it was Malawi. I stayed in the hotel, so it was like the only state sanctioned hotel there was, or whatever. The president, or whatever, was there, whatever. But when we visited out in the community, and truly, I don't want to use the word huts, but is that the proper term for the a lot of those houses?
I'm not going to disrespect. I don't know.
Yeah, because I don't want to sound disrespectful, because I don't know, but those that folks refer to as huts, that's all they had. So I'm like, okay, I wondered, and I don't remember asking the anybody this because it's a bathroom question. I don't ask bathroom questions, but do they bury their stuff outside? Because I didn't see
Mm.
where they could go.
They
Um,
probably go in the bush. They go in the bush.
okay, and no toilet paper.
Yeah.
Uh, Dr. Madeline
So
said when she went to Ghana, she bought her own toilet paper and wipes because they didn't have any.
see, I mean, hey, it's not. Hey,
Mm.
she knows exactly what that statistic is all about.
And Gina Stewart said that explains the enclosed stalls in Dubai with water. And Ferno 932 says, yeah, they do have a common area. And Filipinos use a blue bucket. A blue, that's very specific, David. Filipinos use a blue bucket. Why blue?
See what happens when you bring stuff up? The knowledge comes out. The
I'm
let it
saying,
the let it be known chat does not disappoint.
I'm
Love it.
telling you. I'm
All right,
telling
I
you,
got it.
wow.
Since you guys like that one, I got another one for you.
Oh
A new
gosh.
study has found that over 75% of men are more loyal to their barbers than their partners. Over 60
Oh, what?
over six wait, let me finish. Over 60% of the respondents admitted to sticking with the same barber for at least 5 years. Others claim to travel back to their old neighborhoods after moving just to get a haircut from their trusted barber. And some men surveyed said they dislike explaining to new barbers their preferred styles, and about 25% admitted that they were weary of hygiene and potential infections. How long have you had your barber, Stacy?
About, I want to say about a year now, or less than a
Oh,
year, a little less than a year. Um,
let us know in the
so
chat. How long have you guys had your barbers, and do you believe this study?
I have no problem breaking up with barbers. Come on.
Really? Really?
I have no problem breaking up with barbers. It's like, come on, because sometimes little things bother me
Greer
that may not
says
bother
10
other people.
years. Yeah, Greer says 10
Okay,
years. I was talking
little
to
things.
yeah, little things like what?
If if the same type of crazy music is playing loudly, language, if there, you can go to a barbershop. Unfortunately, in our community, folks, go to a barbershop and it seems like you're on the set of a rap video. They just degrading women constantly, constantly. I can't take that. Degrading themselves, great, the N word flying everywhere, and I just can't. I can't.
What's the chat
Um,
saying? What are they saying about their barbers?
Mike says
Orangey.
10 years.
See, yeah. That's a comment. Yeah.
It's been a long time. I used to when I lived in California, when I lived in the Valley, there was a young lady who would cut my hair and some friends' hair, and Curtis Blow. In fact, Curtis and I would have almost the same appointment. Her name was Esther, and right in Encino, and the whole 7 years I was there, she was my barber. Could have had something to do with the fact that she was pretty hot too.
So, ladies, what about
She
you?
was good.
How long have you had your hairstylist? I tend to, when I find a hairstylist, I tend to stick with them until
Mhm.
they do something. They always do something. They always do something, but they always end up doing something. And hairstylists today are not those of yesterday. You can't even talk to a hairstylist today. They want you to go online. They want you to book your appointment. They tell you, please do not call, text. I'll let you know if your appointment is confirmed. You have to go through so much to even get a new hairstylist in
Right.
today's time. But we love our barbers. We love our hairstylists. They are important to the circle of life.
Well, here's some other answers. So, MB says, I'm a lady and I love my hairdresser about 10 years too, but she's my first one I've stayed with for so long. Chris Moe says, my last barber was 3 years, but my schedule made me have to go to different barbers. Dr. Joni says her husband has gone to the same dentist for 20 years. That's where he's loyal. So he's cheating on Dr. Joni with the dentist. Uh, Michelle Madison says 25 years with the same hairstylist. Austin he says he's been bald for so long that he don't even remember how to spell barber. Um,
Okay.
Inferno 932 says when he was in active duty over 8 years with an older black woman, Miss Alice, she introduced him to the African American bookstore in Omaha, Nebraska. How about that? Let's see. Anybody else? Oh, Patricia Jackson says over 20 years,
Mhm.
she knows her hair type. That's a great point. And Shonda H says a good hairstylist is hard to find. She's had her same hairstylist since 2006. Nancy Wall says that her profession was a barber, and I had faithful customers for about 3 years. So she's a barber. She was a barber who her most faithful customers was like 3 years. Oren G says he's had the same lactician for 4 years. Okay. Um, and let's see, Dr. Marilyn, same stylist for over 10 years. She does her locks, which she's had for 13 years, and she drives over an hour. So that's dedication right there. She drives over an hour to get to her hairstylist.
But I think it
Wow.
proves the point of the study. Like, people like consistency, they like comfort, and they
Mhm.
like to be in the hands of somebody they trust in the care with their hair.
Okay.
So
He meant loctician, by the way. I'm sorry. He changed it to loctician. I was wondering, but
yeah.
go ahead.
So that study seems to be true. People love their beauticians and their barbers, and they're sticking with them no matter what.
Well, Mike V left his barber because he went to this one barber, he says, and he used a razor and left him bleeding. He had the steadiness of an earthquake, he says. So that's horrible.
You
Wow.
see, you never go back to stuff like that.
And by the way, Dr. Joni says, no, her husband is not cheating with the dentist. He is loyal to her. You go, Dr. Joni. She is making it clear. He may go to the dentist for 20 years, but he got me for life. There you go. You got any more quickies?
No, those are the quickies for today. I think
That was quick quickies.
yeah, no, well, I mean, the chat, I love it. Thank you. Now
I know.
now I know. You put me on a track. I'm gonna find some more interesting studies so that we can communicate and talk about these things.
Yeah, there you go. How will I know? Go ahead, Whitney. Come on. I'm really trying to get you to sing something. Come on. Follow my lead here.
I
All
want to
right.
run the people off.
Shanae says people will tough it out with their barber longer than their mates.
Well, that
That's
was
the point of
that
your
was the
right.
study. It said the study found that 75% of men are more loyal to their barbers than to their partners.
Yeah, how about that? And you know what? That's an interesting study. I congratulate those whoever decided to do that study. Who was that, Niele? Do you know? Because that's a really I bet it's a great read.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they break it down.
Yeah. We don't want to forget. Mike V continues to remind me that don't forget the African American Mayors Conference is next week in Washington D.C. He says, please cover it on Let It Be Known. We will certainly uplift the African American Mayors Conference. I've covered them a lot, and I think it's an interesting group of people. The African American Mayors Conference. Always something interesting in that conference. So yeah, Mike, pretty good reminder there.
Yeah, and
So
that should be really important too, because of the Trump clan, and how these
mhm,
black mayors are gonna, protect their their cities. You have ICE, you have budget cuts. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure that is going to be an impactful conference this year more than probably
yeah.
previous years.
Exactly. And um, just before we get to the black card, I just want to mention Southbound 3000 came in late, but apparently said that with his response, but 30 years is how long apparently he's been with his barber.
See?
And it is Friday. It's French Quarter Festival, and the Essence Festival music list has come out, and Nas will be there. He's waiting on his auntie list, by the way. That's RNG waiting on the. We said the swag hoodie of the day already, Mike V.
Wait, I'm
Don't be
confused.
missing it.
You got to be more clear. You brought up Essence Festival, so are you saying Nas is headlining the Essence Festival?
He will be there. RNG says. I don't know if he's headlining or not, but the fact that he's there, he might be the headline.
Oh, okay.
But Mike V's missing the swag hoodie of the day, which is Arkansas Pine. But what are you wearing? We didn't see what you was wearing today, Niele.
Oh, I just have on a Harriet Tubman. We out. We started the week with Harriet Tubman. Them pulling her from the websites. Black folks got mad. People start saying stuff. Then the museum came in. And they said, "Okay, we're gonna put her back up. We're gonna put her back up."
The
And
headliner.
so,
Oh, I'm
so
sorry. Go ahead.
and so I'm just sticking with it. I'm ending my week with Harriet Tubman because the struggle was real this week, and but they put her back up on the website. Still concerned about the African American Museum, the Smithsonian, but there was some hope this week with Mama Tubman.
And by the way, the headliner of the Essence Fest has not yet been named. He's just letting us know that Nas is going to be there. Oh, well, I'm
Is
definitely
that
not
from
going.
that's from last year or this year? Oh,
I thought she was there last year.
yeah, I think
I
that
guess
was
she
from
got
last
nothing else. Yeah, I think she don't have nothing else to do with her life.
Huh? What? Whoa. What? I mean, what was that for?
I'm just saying, I have no interest in that chick. Next,
Okay.
the black card of the day. Who's getting their black card revoked? It's an easy call. I mean, I know we got some contenders there. Someone mentioned Jason Whitlock. I don't consider Jason Whitlock ever having one, and maybe this dude has never had one really. Anyway, Dr. Marilyn. Stevie
I've been
Ray.
approached by people who are elected officials in office, whether it's governors or mayors or what have you, and people have legitimately and seriously asked me about that. I have no desire to be a politician. My life is pretty well. But I've decided I'm no longer going to close that door. I'm going to keep my options open. I'm going to entertain the possibility. And if it comes in 2020, late 2026, 2027, where I look at this country and I think it's an absolute mess and there's legitimate reason to believe, whether it's via exploratory committees or anything else, that I indeed would have a legitimate shot to win the presidency of the United States, I am not going to rule it out. And
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Please let it stop. The coonery and the buffoonery on this guy, he knows he has no bottom whatsoever. He came out again yesterday saying that he supports Trump's tariffs wholeheartedly. This guy he's a disgrace. He's disgusting. He's self-centered. He's the most egocentric dude. He's got bigger ego than Trump. His head is, I don't know how he gets into arenas or doors, period. This guy can go somewhere, hibernate, and never show his face again. And 700 years could pass and no one would miss him.
Well, I do think that he understands what Trump understands, and it's how to keep the eyeballs on you. I don't think I'm not going to say that because we didn't think Donald Trump could be president. But I think Stephen A. Smith. I think Stephen A. Smith understands that how to keep the ratings up, how to keep the people watching, have the people like yourself talking about them. Because with Stephen A. Smith, it's either you're hot or you're cold. There's no in between with him. Either you like him or you hate him. There's no in between with this guy. But he definitely is a jerk. But he leans into his jerkness. And that's why he's probably one of the highest people paid on ESPN, because we love to hate him.
And I think that is part of why he is such a low life jerk, is because he is playing. He understands that he's got to follow Massa's line in order to stay where he's at. And he's hurt so many black people at ESP. He's hurt so many. He's destroyed.
I don't think it's Massa's line. I don't think it's Massa's line. I think he's found a way to rule the game in the space that he's in.
When has he ever criticized a white athlete? I'll wait. Thank you. This guy.
But what's that point? But
he's self-hating. He's a coon. He's a coon and a buffoon. He's self-hating, self-deprecating. He's disgusting. He's just I don't care how good he dresses. I mean, how many $800 suits he wears, he will never look good. He's an idiot. He's a low life. He's an earthworm. I can go on and on. Don't like him. Don't like him at all.
You don't like him. You don't like Janet Jackson. What is it about Janet Jackson you don't like?
Oh, we don't have enough time to get into that. He's like all the other MAGA men, is what MB says. We have.
I don't even think is he MAGA or is he opportunist? Like Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not really anything but an opportunist. I mean, he's leaning into what's working for him. But Donald Trump used to be a Democrat. He's just whatever. That's what I'm saying.
He never cared about black folks or women, Donald Trump. So he's been very consistent about that.
No, he has. But then he also, but most hip hop artists are friends before he became president. I mean, he was like beloved in the black community. Black folks liked Donald Trump before Donald Trump became president. No,
stop it.
And he hung out. He hung out in the crowds. He could go to the parties. He could go to the Oscar parties. He could go to the after parties.
Listen to what you're saying.
He could be in those spaces.
Not everyday black folks. You're talking about folks that he used for photo ops and stuff like that, and who was willingly being used by this guy. All of the hip hop community falls into that line, just about.
But my point is that it's self-serving, and that's what Stephen A. Smith reminds me of. It's just really not about it. It's really not about this or that. It's just about, how do I stay relevant? How do I get what I want? And how do I continue to climb or make my American pie slice bigger?
There has been so many people who has risen, black men, black women, who have risen to and so Stephen A. Smith is looked upon, he's like the king of ESPN over there, right? Who's risen to positions like that. Robin Roberts is a good example, right? She's a good example when you talk about a Stephen A. Smith. And she has not embarrassed us, has misused that position, has used that position that we know of to ruin other Black people's careers, to constantly make a habit out of dissing and putting down Black people on a regular basis. I mean, that whole thing with LeBron James, I wish LeBron James would have hit him in the throat.
I don't.
I wish he would have.
I don't. Because LeBron has more to lose than Stephen A. Smith. So I'm glad he didn't.
And that's why Stephen A. Smith did what he did. Because he
Mhm.
recognized that and he used that. He's a spineless jerk. But nonetheless, I can't be objective, folks. We got to be objective. I can't when it comes to certain people. Can't. So you got to listen to Niele.
Don't listen to me.
Gotta listen to her.
God.
Be more like her on that, because I can't be objective on certain people. There's a lot of people I can be objective on. It shows. I've been doing journalism for 30 years. You have to be objective. Not anymore, you don't, but for most of my 30 years in this business, you've had to have been objective. So I've done something right. So anyway, let's get to some facts before we get out of here, as Austin tells me to leave Janet alone. No problem with that. I can leave her alone. You want to do a Black fact?
No, I'll do it because and then you can do. Well, no, go ahead.
I'll do it. All right. On this date in 1881, classes at what would eventually become Spelman College were first held in the basement of a church in Atlanta. It is its original name was the Atlanta Baptist Female Seminary, and it was organized under the sponsorship of the American Baptist Women's Home Mission Society. Ultimately, Spelman would become the premier educational institution for African American women in the nation. The school, which is part of the complex of colleges and the Atlanta University, is ranked among the top liberal arts schools in the country by U.S. News and World Report. Forbes ranks Spelman among the top 10 best women's colleges in the country. So our Black fact is on this date, and way back in 1881, Spelman was originally founded.
Nice. HBCUs. I love them. I think it's so important that we continue to uplift HBCUs and talk about their narratives. Look at the women of Spelman.
Yep.
An all-girls school. I don't know if I could go to an all-girls school.
Why not?
But I guess Morehouse was across the way. So it was an all-girls school, but you had the Morehouse fellas over there. So I guess you were okay. Also, I think since we're talking about Black history, I don't know. Well, I mean, Sinners. The movie comes out today. Sinners, the Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan movie.
Okay.
Not that it's a Black history fact, but it does come out today. And I think it's worth going to go see. I saw it earlier this week in advanced screening. And think of, did you see the movie Stacy, Dusk Till Dawn?
Uh-uh.
So it was a vampire movie. It was called Dusk to Dawn. So think of Dusk to Dawn with a down south twist. Michael B. Jordan does an excellent job. He plays his character is two of them. He's a twin brother. He has a twin brother. And he's like this gangster style. It's just such a good movie. I would recommend everybody to go see Sinners, go see it, enjoy it. And it is something that will take your mind away from all this craziness that is happening in our nation. A little mindless behavior this weekend.
Mindless behavior. Inferno 932 says it's a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah, I mean, it has that vibe. Ryan Coogler did an excellent job, though. He found a way to make it certain parts of it intergenerational. with as far as it relates to music and dance and culture. But for the most part, it's set back in maybe the 40s or 50s. And it's down south, so you have elements of the Klan. You have the juke joint. It's really good movie. I definitely recommend if you want some mindless behavior, and you want a movie and you want to celebrate some Black culture and excellence, go see Sinners.
Oh gosh, you can walk down the street and see some sinners. You
Well,
can
let
look
me
on the
say this:
screen.
I'm a sinner saved
I
by
was going to
grace.
say you can look on the screen. She was saying "From Dusk to Dawn" is Quentin. From Dusk to Dawn is a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah,
Okay.
it gives it the premise is that, but it has a down south feel to it, and it's Black led, Black cast
Mm,
and everything. So it's really good.
okay. And Orangey says that juke joint. He grew up in a few of them. He grew up in a few juke joints. Hmm. Interesting stuff. Okay. Well, are we
Loving
gonna
the
get our
engagement today, folks. I love it. Love it. If we do every day, but I just love the engagement.
But listen to Dr. Marilyn. Dr. Marilyn says he looks handsome. Eye candy, she said.
Girl, now let me tell you,
Oh,
I
here
looked
we
at
go.
Michael B. Jordan different after I finished that movie. I was like, come here, young man. Woo! And the suits.
What?
He
Come
had
here,
those
young
suits
man.
on, and there was two of them. Girl, if you just for that alone, go see the movie. And what a conversation that sparked from seeing that movie is it made you wish that we could go back to a time to where appearance mattered, and you could get a man to come meet you, just to walk down the street in a suit. You just to walk down the street, folks were suited and booted. You had your dress on, your stockings, your heels. The man had the suit. I mean, if we could just go back to that,
Mhm.
okay? Yeah, go see it, Michael B. Jordan.
A lot, I've heard a lot of people say that. A number of people, I should say that, and say that more recently too. And I'm not mad at you saying that because the way folks, I mean, I'm not the best of dresses, but the way folks dress today, and you look back and that ended sometime in the 70s. That whole, like you
Mhm.
said, suited and booted thing ended like in the 70s because folks, everywhere they went, you can go to a boxing match and they had on suits and ties and
Right.
everything. So,
I'm
uh,
telling you, my grandmother said, and here, my grandmother's, I think I told this before, but my grandmother is 94, and we were driving downtown,
mhm.
and she just started looking around and she goes, we would get dressed to go to Macy's. You wouldn't go to Macy's and throw on some sweats and some tennis shoes. You would get suited and booted to go to Macy's, to go to the grocery store. There was just a sense of pride. Like you would get dressed. Michael B. Jordan looked like he smelled good. I didn't even have to smell him, but he smelled good looking like that. So I just wish sometimes, like even going back to church, like I started going back to church this year. I came out of the COVID habit to put on clothes, you know, and to get dressed.
Right,
There's
right.
a certain feeling about that we
Yeah.
have lost. And COVID even amplified that because some of us are still working from home, or even in the work environment now, it's casual. Remember, you
Hmm.
used to have to get dressed to go to work. You
Right,
go to work
right.
casual now. And so just
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
whole
because it used to be casual Fridays
okay, yeah, you look forward to Friday, but now it's casual every day. And
every
so
day.
I just miss something that you never had. And see, this younger generation, they will never know because they didn't have to experience it. At least I was
Mhm.
able to experience it. And now, we're in this casual world, but the younger generation, they're not going to even know what it's like to get dressed and suited and
No,
booted.
and you have so many people in the chat. Again, you got the chat rolling here. Inferno 932 says, "I love those days." Shonda H says, "We as a people used to value class, community, and how we present in public." Yeah, because remember the shoulders back, chin up, and
Hmm.
and all of that. people, Dr. Joni says people used to dress up to fly on airplanes. I still do. I still um, get dressed to fly on an airplane for a lot of reasons, mainly because I'm black. Um, and I like to fly in the front of the plane. So I present, I don't want no problems. Um, and Dr. Marilyn says she's with you. She loves a well-dressed man.
Mm.
MB says I like dressing up. I think everyone should do it. So Mike V believes that as soon as folks got a taste of civil rights, they started wearing jeans. So, and if you
But
look good, you feel good. Inferno
right.
932 is right. If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, they pay good. How about that?
Man, and I think that's something to say about where we are today. When we were dressing to go to the protest, when
Yeah, yeah.
when
You
we
look
were
at the March
protesting,
on Washington. Look at
we was
videos from
dressed.
that.
We was dressed,
Yeah.
and so when we got our civil rights, something happened. We let go of too much. Look, look, look,
Look at
look.
that. The hats. It was always my grandmother loved her hats. Oh my gosh, she had a hat for every day and never repeated the hat. Never repeated the same hat.
So
So
yeah, we lost something
look at
when
that.
we got
Yeah.
our rights, and
I mean,
and
look at the
now here
long
we
the long
are.
trench coats and stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
that
you
and
look.
then
He'd
homegirl
have
got the
come throwing.
fur
He'd
on.
have come throwing some red paint on that fur coat. They might not make
Oh,
it home.
no, I don't think they would. I don't no
They
matter how
might
many
not make it
fingers.
home.
No, they wouldn't. It wouldn't happen. But you see, you got people talking. That's a great picture. Yeah, that was a great picture Greer put up there. Man, I enjoyed looking at that. You want to see even more of it, right? Because it is so cool. Like I said, I think it ended around it was the 70s. Maybe the mid 70s is when it started
Look at
fading.
the
Look
little
at that.
boy. Look at the
Even
little
the little,
boy.
yes, look at that. The hats were on fire. Oh,
And you'd have to know your Bible verses. Like
is
kids
that what it
now,
was?
yeah, you have to know your Bible. It was just, I think we need to like take a breath and just go back. People like, oh, you old or oh, no, 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 no. It's called wisdom. It's called seasoning, and we need to go back to some of those practices. Because
Oh, if you're dressed, no matter, people talk about you don't want to be overdressed, whatever. I'd rather be overdressed than underdressed, first of all.
hmm
But if you're dressed, there's not many places you can't get into.
hmm
And look at that. See, this is what I'm talking about. The March on Washington. Look at that. It's the white men who don't have a suit jacket on. I do see a black man without a suit jacket, but still. Uh,
but
and
they
white,
didn't have on t-shirts. They didn't have
they
on
didn't have on
jeans. He had on
t-shirts and jeans.
slacks. Yeah, he had on
Yes.
slacks. So
Yep.
it was just appearance
And it was
mattered.
hot. It was hot.
hmm
It was like August something, right? August 20th, whatever. 28th was the March on Washington.
Right.
It was in
And
August.
remember back in the
Hot.
day, they used to remember when black folks before civil rights, when the jelly beans in a jar, people would walk miles to go vote, and they would put on their Sunday best just to
hmm
go vote.
Mike V mentions, remember we talked about this too. Felicia Rashad had said all this on the Breakfast Club, and black women tore her apart, he says in the comment section. Um, and even when she was saying it, I knew she was going to get some pushback, but I knew she was right. And she was not throwing shade at anybody. She made that clear. She wasn't throwing shade at anybody. But she just talked about what we're talking about.
Right, right, right. And I've heard that too. My friends have gone back to homecoming, and I was at Grambling in the 90s. So, I mean, it wasn't that long ago. But just talking about the way the young ladies dress on campus, and Felicia Rashad talked about that, and I could relate. It's like, girl, put some clothes on to go to class.
This
Say
they
that
McDonald's
for
class.
Saturday and Sunday, but how you be presentable, even for your professors. Professors pay attention to that too.
They do. They do. Yeah. Shonda H says, I hate when we have a formal event and want to question why they have to dress up. It's true. That's another true point. So yeah, that's that's a community. That's something our community should probably when they're having all these meetings now, maybe they can incorporate that somehow as well. But I don't think the young folks want to hear it. I really don't. Some might understand. Some might say, "Listen, we it's a different time." But uh, mm,
Look, Dr. King getting arrested in a suit,
it
suited
look
and
like
booted.
it looked like a tan suit too. By the way, we can't tell because it's not a color photo. But yeah, I mean, remember what's his name? Obama got in trouble for the tan suit. But yeah, pride. It was about pride, and that's probably the biggest issue here. Because back then, it wasn't hard to try and to find somebody trying to instill pride in their kids, instill
Right.
pride in their community. Now it's this is one of the problems with integration, right? You lost the community with integration, so.
Or with the concept of freedom. After civil rights, we thought we had attained a certain amount of freedom, and our parents were able to give us, for me it was my grandparents, able to give me the things that they couldn't have, but
Mhm.
giving us more and not instilling, that part of us. I think that kind of hurt us as well.
Yeah. It's true. Oh, look at that. He just took it down. Look at that. Again, and it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, the little boy in front, he got suspenders on.
Hmm.
Isn't that something? Yeah. That's why Stevie Wonder said, "I wish those days could come back once more." So hey, yeah, I wish.
Well,
All
what's
right,
our
folks.
paper for the week? Or for the day?
I what?
Paper.
No, I thought we were gonna do our answer
Oh,
to the
pop
quiz
quiz.
first.
Yeah. Drum roll. Du-du-du-du-du.
Yeah, I'm afraid they're right.
Oh, you guys are right.
Yes, indeed. Henrietta Lacks did change medical science, and well, the family just recently won. Was it last year? A big settlement,
Mm-hmm.
um, and good for them. I hope that they received at least a good chunk of what they deserved.
They can never be
Uh,
repaid for the
no,
contributions
no,
that
no.
Miss Lax made to our medical industry and cures for different diseases, and that they could never be repaid for that. And there are
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
so many other Henrietta Lacks that we don't know about.
100%. Wow. Yeah, good for them. So our black-owned newspaper of the day is the Winston-Salem Chronicle. Established in 1974, the Chronicle is Winston-Salem's oldest and one of its well-respected community newspapers. The paper focuses on positive news happening in Winston-Salem and some surrounding areas. So the Black-owned newspaper of the day is the Winston-Salem Chronicle down in North Carolina.
Mm.
Good job there. Go on their website and check out the latest news out of Winston-Salem. You see business, government, education, and they got some national news too. But it's certainly news you can use.
Right. That's why we love our local Black newspapers, because they keep us connected to community. And then if you want to branch out and find out what's happening with Black America at large, you can always head over to BlackPressUSA.com. Uh, right now, Michelle Obama. I'm not divorcing Barack. I'm choosing me. I thought
Close
that
with
was
that.
I thought that was such a rich conversation that she had, because people were, picking at her marriage because she didn't go to the inauguration, or she didn't go to Jimmy Carter's funeral. And she was just like, I just made a decision. People can't believe that I can make a decision on my own. That doesn't have
Hmm.
nothing to do with my husband.
Right.
And the way she said it, I'm just paraphrasing, but the way she said it, it was like light bulb moment, folks. Just because you're in a marriage doesn't mean that you can't make an independent choice for yourself. The woman had just lost her mother, and it takes a long time to heal, and nobody knows how she's feeling or what she's going through. So why are you judging her or making headlines about her marriage? She was
because
like, I chose
because
me.
the fact is that they have done something that is really almost impossible. The most high profile people there is, and no scandal. That's the
Mhm.
problem. That people can't accept that they've made it a problem, and folks can't accept that this couple has been devoid of any hint of scandal, and they can't take it. It's got to be something with them. They can't be this. Two Harvard grads, a lawyer. This is Bill and Camille at the next level, and they can't accept that. It's got to be something wrong. The girls, they follow the poor Sasha, and what's the other one's name?
Malia.
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 They can't even go to school. They can't even go have lunch, and they're followed around, and they're digging for some sort of scandal, and they can't find any. So it's frustrating folks. And so this idea, the last couple of months, these crazy rumors on social media and other, oh, Barack is cheating on her. They even said he cheated with Beyonce and this, and it's like, come on, give
Yeah.
it a rest. Give
Yeah.
it a
I mean,
rest. I'm not
couples
even an
have
Obama
problems.
guy. I'm not even a fan, but I'm just, the fact is, this guy is scandal free. You got to give him his big ups for that. 8 years in the office, not a hint of scandal except a tan suit. That y'all made a scandal. Is not, he decided to change it up. We talked about dressing. The black man know how to dress.
Yeah.
He's the one of the he. I'm gonna say that again. He's not one of. He is the coolest president in the history of presidents. As
Yeah.
far as how he carried himself and everything, I mean, you may not have liked his policies. I could care less about his policies or whatever. I think the best thing he did policy wise, of course, was Obamacare, and they continue to go after it. But this guy kept it real for him, and he kept it without scandal. So that's the thing.
Yeah. I love me some Michelle Obama. I've met former President Barack Obama twice. Had the opportunity to interview him for the Los Angeles Sentinel newspaper. But the one person that I definitely want to at least just, take a picture with, shake her hand, is the beloved Michelle Obama. I mean, to me, she's the one that gave Barack his black card, because before he got with Michelle, he was a milkshake, a vanilla milkshake. But when he got with Michelle from the South Side of Chicago, she showed him what it means to be. She showed him what it means to be young, gifted, and black. Okay, this is what it's about, and I really feel like he really leaned into, all jokes aside, he really leaned into his blackness when she opened up not just her heart but her family and her community to him, and he was able to see really what a real South Side of Chicago black experience is like, because before then he didn't have that. He was from Hawaii. He was from Hawaii. When he got with the Robinsons, he leaned in. He was like, "Give me some more of that fried chicken. Pass them collard greens. Okay, this is what I'm talking about." Love Michelle Obama.
We gotta go, y'all. It's been a great Friday milkshake. We'll see you.
Love the Obamas. Love y'all.
We'll see you on Monday. Thanks for watching. Let it be known.
All of my relatives had style.
Even though they didn't have much, he saw the luxury his grandmother created.
In the South, going to church was the most important thing in life.
And it was a fashion show.
He was outstanding and stood out because of his height, because of his mannerisms.
A bunch of white boys, a dude, decided to throw rocks at me because I was walking the campus. People have said many bad things about me. They used to call me ping pong.